Hello and welcome to another episode of the Get Out of Gaming podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Ben,
I'm Alex.
and we have a very special guest, OG from the very first episodes, first couple seasons of Get Out of Gaming podcast. We have Spencer back with us.
I like how Alex just said, "I'm Alex." He's not the host or anything. He's just
No,
Alex.
no.
Hi, just
Yeah,
Alex.
I'm
Yeah,
here. I'm here.
yeah. How's
You
it
know,
going, guys? What's up?
It's good. It's great. We have been talking for a while about getting you on the podcast and talking about some stuff, and we've got some pretty cool things we're going to talk about today. If this is your first time listening, hey, hit that follow button. Check us out on our social media. We're on Facebook, Blue Sky. We are a bi-weekly podcast where you can get us on your favorite podcast services. At this point right now, we are probably everywhere you get a podcast, almost everywhere. So get the audio podcast, but then on Friday of that same week, we have a video. Comes out on YouTube. Check out our videos on YouTube. Got some Let's Plays on there. Definitely check out our review for Nirvana the band, the show. We did season 1 was part 1. Season 2 was another episode. Deep dive into those shows there, and definitely check out a review of the movie as well. Now Alex has had me watch 3 different things, so now I get to pick the next one. So
that's not how that works. No,
You get to pick three things.
I let
think
it.
is what he was gonna say, right? That's
I
only
let
fair.
him
Yeah.
watch pure gold, whereas I've had to
Yeah,
watch just
okay.
awful things
Right,
for
yeah.
him.
the only bad thing you watched
Sure.
that I picked out was China O'Brien 1 and 2. That was it. And which, by
That's
the
2
way,
things.
my really good best friend from high school, he's like, you made us watch these. These were horrible then. So yes, I did. But I made up for it when we watched Onyx and Fortuitous. That made up for it.
Yeah, kind of.
A
So
little thing called compromise, boys.
yes.
Sometimes you got to put up with some not so bangers to get to the bangers. So.
I guess so.
In our we've had that fair share with some of the reviews we've done and stuff. But today we're focusing on Spencer. So if you're
Terrifying. Jeez. Yeah.
if you're new, when I wanted to do a podcast and Spencer worked at GameStop, I said, "Hey, we should do a podcast together." The pure optimism from Spencer of like, "So what's your plan?" Because I had no plan. I had zero plan.
We had no plan indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said we should do this together. And let me tell you, those first couple episodes, they are recording gold. But understand, it took so much time to record these things.
All
Oh my
night,
gosh.
yeah, and just late
I mean,
nights of sitting in Ben's kitchen table, or in his kitchen on the table, I guess, yeah. And well, we had the snowball mics, I think, for the first
yeah,
few
those things were
episodes, right? You can kind of tell, I think, when the audio got a little better. Um, yeah, no, gold indeed, though, man. Yeah, we were figuring things out every day, and yeah, sometimes it would take us 2, 3 hours to after we were, sat down and then prepared, quote unquote, to actually start recording just because of technical hiccups. So
I think my favorite.
thankfully we found Alex and he's
Yeah.
smarter than both of us. So
Yeah, Alex came in episode 3, and I don't think he knew what he was getting into when he walked in and goes, "So what's your setup?" Oh, it's an all-in-one touchscreen, and that's how I knew
yeah.
we were in some.
We were recording
We
off a
were.
laptop too, I think originally, right? If I
I think we had both.
do recall.
Yeah, we had
Did we?
both.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It was Jake.
Oh, it was
Definitely
very Jake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I upgraded my computer a couple years ago, and then this one is brand spanking new.
Oh, nice.
And there's Cooper in the background. But we've come a long way, and uh, I still go back to those episodes of like me doing the coffee pot. And Alex doesn't drink coffee, but there were several episodes where he's like, "I think I'll take some coffee." Do you remember drinking coffee in my house? You were like,
I don't, honestly. It's probably one of those things where I'm just like, maybe I'll actually do this, but
I know we were making the coffee for me. I don't remember Alex drinking any
yeah.
either, but I am
I remember
notoriously
one
addicted
time.
to coffee. So
Coffee and
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
cheers. Yeah. For all of you, audio listeners, I have a beer in my hand.
I was going to grab one of my beers, but unfortunately, the only thing I have left in my fridge is non-alcoholic. So
You're
shout out
fair
to
enough.
the
Shout out
to the
to beer, he
non-alcoholic.
says. No,
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
but really, we also want to kind of talk with him about. So he has a brand new store called Over the Board, and I really wanted to bring him on to kind of talk about that. So they are a local card shop in Rossville, and they buy, sell, trade Magic, Pokemon, and they have events and stuff like that. Uh, Alex, I were in
Don't
this.
say huge now. Yeah, let's not
I
use
think they're
that word
huge.
yet.
I think they are. Um,
The shop's pretty cool. Yeah, not to talk too highly of it, but we've been getting only good feedback so far. Which is exciting. There's a little fear. I have a business partner, and I think before we first opened the doors, there was that moment of fear where we were like, well, we might open the doors and nobody could come in, So just to see people actually in there and sitting down and playing is very cool. So yeah, sorry to
what?
cut you off, Ben.
Oh no, you're fine. What was the thought of like, hey, I want to open my own store? Um, I've known you for a long time, and you've always been into magic and really well knowledged in that. But what was like where you're like, hey, I want to do my own store?
Yeah, so oh man. Yeah, so like Ben said, I've been playing for 20 years. I started in 2006.
Wow.
I'd have to check the exact day, but I started in a set called Lorwyn. Came out, like I said, in 2006. And we've since circled back to Lorwyn for the second time in Magic's history, just earlier this year. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I've loved Magic for 20 years. I think when we first started recording, and I was at GameStop, I actually took kind of a break from Magic for a couple of years, I'd say 4 or 5 years. I was still playing pretty casually, just here and there with some friends. I taught a lot of friends from GameStop actually, um, how to play, and we would play very casually at my home and everything, or other friends' houses. But when I first started all that time ago, it was, I was super competitive, and I've always been a competitive person. Anybody that knows me from this podcast from a long time ago, I was into speedrunning for a while. Always playing Warzone with friends. Yeah, I'm competitive. I just like that competitive nature, and Magic's always kind of spoke to me like that. 1v1 formats where I can sit down and face a person, face my opponent, that's just, that's right up my alley. So, yeah, I've been collecting and playing for 20 years. And then back in 2020, shortly after the pandemic, um, sat down with a local owner of another card shop here in Lafayette, Indiana, for those of you guys that don't know. I managed that store. This is obviously, about a year after I left GameStop, not quite. So yeah, I was, for the last 5 years managing a card store. Uh, I didn't really get the idea to like open my own shop, I guess, until I don't know, like maybe 2 years ago, year and a half. I think it was something like I kind of floated around with the idea. But it's scary. Like you're throwing a lot of money into something that you don't really know is going to work. I think the two biggest things that helped me actually get to the point of opening was probably my business partner. That being number one. He has a lot of knowledge in areas that I don't. Um, and then B, playing for 20 years, I just already had a collection built up. So yeah, obviously that helped big time. Starting with a pretty sizable inventory. It's just like selling on eBay and stuff.
Hmm.
It's easier to make money when you have stuff to sell on eBay, right? Can't just turn on the eBay store and put nothing up there and expect to make money. So
Mhm.
yeah, a combination of those two things though really helped get it off, and going. We officially became partners. Let's see, it's about 2 months ago, I think, June, the beginning of June. So yeah, at that point, I had already signed a lease. We both had our own separate LLCs, and I always kind of figured that that was the first LLC that I had created, and that was back in March. But I always, from what I heard and what I knew about business, just being in retail and and being in sales my whole life basically. an LLC was the best way to protect myself. So I went ahead and did that, like right after I left my job, basically. Um, and yeah, he had his own previous LLC for almost a year, I think, before that, like June of last year. So we had reconnected at Tier One, the card shop that I ran, and then also at trade shows and stuff because we were both doing like card shows on the side. So yeah, it was kind of like lucky, I guess, that we ran into each other at the time that we did and reconnected. So it's just very cool on a bunch of fronts, though. It just worked out.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I think the minute I remember when I met you at PAX Sun, um, such a long time ago, and you were like, I said, "Hey, tell me about yourself," because you were newer, and you're like, "Oh, I used to play Magic professionally." I was like, "Shut up!" And you're like, "Yep,
Semi-professionally. I wouldn't say
semi-professionally."
professionally. So
Yeah,
I was
and
never quite
and
that good, but yeah, yeah, I liked it.
yeah, and I knew at some point you would have a store or something along those lines there. And we were at your store not too long ago. It is very nice. It's very um I don't buy those type of cards. If you had like a box of the Halo cards, I'd probably buy that. Um which nobody wants. So but it was cool to see all the different cards you had. You even had like I saw some really little kids looking at Pokemon cards. You guys had those that were relatively good prices and stuff, and you had several tables, so that was pretty cool. I always wanted to learn Magic, and then I'm like, "Yep, I'll just add that into the time of 5 children and basically
It's a demanding
2
game,
jobs."
especially like nowadays. It's really overwhelming actually for a lot of people when you try to get into Magic, right? There's like a million different things to look at. And there's a million different product lines. And then just there's so many different sets. When I was growing up playing, and all of Magic's history before, they used to come out with four expansion sets a year, right? And now it's anywhere from like 7 to 8 on average. So like this year, for instance, there's 7 sets, and then they do all sorts of product spin-offs. These things called secret layers have gotten really popular over the last 4 or 5 years. The very first one that they ever did was a crossover with The Walking Dead. So now that spun off a whole subset of full expansions now that they call Universe Beyond. So it's just there's so many things, right? When you get into Magic, a surface level, right, where it's overwhelming. So I like to tell people, Magic can be as expensive as you want it to be, um, and as overwhelming as you want it to be, right? So if you stick to one or two things, it's fine. If you just buy a box right off the shelf and want to play, you can do that. Then if you want to dig into the rich history of Magic's, 33,000 plus, unique cards, you can do that too. So very, very hard to get into from that standpoint, I guess.
See, I'm a good friend. I bought something from your store. So
Okay,
here's
My
the
son bought
Ben
stuff.
brought his son and he bought
Yeah.
stuff. So
he
yeah.
also brought me. So again,
Man, the support is like it's overwhelming, guys. Like it's I mean, I don't want to say dream come true, but like that's such a cliche thing to say,
mhm.
but it really has been like, and it's not only from like friends now. It's just we're organically growing at a rate I think faster than both my partner and I anticipated. And he's never been in retail, right? And he has been playing Magic just as long as me, so he's very familiar with the community and how community events help grow the community in general, I guess. So he's familiar with that part of Magic for sure, but as far as the retail side of things, I don't think he understood and just how how quick pace everything can be, and I definitely didn't know that we would grow at the rate that we are. So very thankful. Support from friends is great, but seeing that organic growth in the business is just like it's oh man, wow. Like it's crazy. Facebook's doing a lot of heavy lifting for us. There's people coming in constantly, every day I'm getting multiple people come in like, "Hey, we found you guys on Facebook," or, somebody's mom or friend told us about you guys, and here we are. I'm like, I've never met you in my life. I've been playing this game 20 years locally, and I'm meeting new people that are into Magic, and it's incredible. Like it blows my mind, and it's just super humbling, and like I don't know. It's hard to put it into words. So
You're in a
yeah.
really good spot. Like your location's very good for like what it is. Like you're in between, you know, like you're in between like Lafayette, Kokomo, all that kind of stuff. So like you're in
Yeah.
that sweet spot where you can get a lot of people just coming to you naturally, and so obviously that's what you're seeing. But
Hmm.
like I went to, what is it, like the Dollar General that's right beside you, like they sell like two things of Pokemon cards, but now you
Yeah.
guys are there, you guys have a
Sure.
bunch of Pokemon cards. Kids with their moms, their parents, whatever, like can actually have a nice place to buy those without having to go into different towns.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one thing that we noticed too, and actually one thing that we were, I don't want to say scared of when we first opened, but it was definitely something I was thinking of that might negatively affect us was our location because we're not in a spot like Lafayette that has 60,000 plus people, and then we're basically Lafayette and West Lafayette. For those of you that don't know, it's one giant town. There's a river down the
Mhm.
middle, so it's 60 people on both sides of the river. So it's basically one giant town with 120,000 people. Rossville, where the store is at, we're about 10 minutes outside of Lafayette going east, and I think it's got a population size of like 1,600. So, I mean, we were really afraid that, like, hey, man, like, if we can't get people out here, what are we going to do? Um, and Alex mentioned, the surrounding cities. We have a smaller town called Delphi that's got a couple thousand people. Kokomo, which is about 20 minutes the opposite direction of Lafayette, that has 20,000 or so, a good amount of people. But not being able to pull those people, we were getting scared. It's like, hey, if we don't pull these people, what are we going to do? And that's actually one thing that I'm really grateful. My partner had a great online infrastructure. We were both already selling cards separately. He actually works for a company called Mana Pool, and they're essentially, a lot of people are probably familiar with TCG Player.
Mhm.
It's like the most popular place to get Magic cards and Pokemon cards online. And then eBay, everybody's pretty familiar with eBay too. So I sold on TCG prior, and my partner who works at Manipool, they are basically TCG Player's biggest competitor, and they strictly sell Magic cards. So exclusively Magic cards on that site. Um, so he works for the company, and not only does he work for the company, he had a great platform already in place for selling these cards through Manapool and eBay. So yeah, super grateful that we connected. We kind of, yeah, so we kind of filled each other's gaps, I guess, in that need, where like I was selling a lot of higher end stuff. I've been collecting a lot of Magic cards, and over the years, either they've gone up in price, or I'm that guy. I'm just guilty. I like shiny cardboard. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I bought a lot of expensive cards over the years. Um, and he was kind of figuring out systems on the back end how to move a lot of lower end cards in higher quantities. So it was kind of a pretty sweet marriage actually when we ended up getting together and signing everything. And I'm just so grateful because I've been like learning every day. Um, it's like, yeah, these bulk cards that I would have just kind of, shipped it away earlier or said no to. It's like, oh, give me that, man. We'll sift it all through our machines and put it online and bulk sells. So it's actually that was the thing that was going to save us if we couldn't get people through the doors. So
I mean, when we were there was quite a few people. Um,
mm,
I almost bought the Ninja Turtles thing because I was like, "Ooh, look, Ninja
the
Turtles."
pizza
I didn't
box,
buy
yeah.
it. Um,
I think we have
I'm
one
waiting.
left. We've sold like three of those since we've opened, which is
Yeah,
crazy because that was a set that I completely skipped out, man. It's like,
yeah.
yeah, everybody likes something different, and I think the Universe is Beyond thing, like I was saying, Turtles being one of the more recent ones was, I mean, it's hooking a lot of players in, which is cool.
I mean, it's turtles, man. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Fair.
It's so funny because like I don't know a ton about Magic. I played Hearthstone, and that is my level of experience with it. But what I will say is their collabs that they've done over the last couple of years have been insane. So before anyone else was doing Godzilla collabs, they did a Godzilla. They did Final Fantasy. They've done Ninja Turtles. And I'm sure I'm missing some other pretty big collabs that they've done. But like, you can't do that with Pokemon. You can't do
Yep.
a
Yep.
collab with them. But I feel like Magic has only gotten bigger over the last couple of years. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
100%. Yeah. So I mean, when Lord of the Rings came out, that was back in 2023. Um, it was the fastest set like the fastest selling set ever, and the most profitable set for Wizards ever after a couple of months, which is just absurd. And that was kind of when I think there was a big shift for Wizards, and they started to prioritize those full sets, because that was like the first expansion that they did, a Universes Beyond, a collaboration with basically those, like, its own thing. And then after that, I mean, they just saw the dollar signs, and now every other set basically is a crossover.
yeah. I will say when I was in there just observing, I come from a pretty good. All three of us have worked retail at some point.
Hmm.
Um, I worked retail for a very long time, like just like Spencer did. Uh,
Still
one thing
am.
I this is a whole different thing though.
Not
But
not really. That's, I've been telling everybody that I'm still the guy behind the counter. So it's I have a lot of other responsibilities, obviously, but um, yeah, I'm still the one making sales and trying to help people. I don't consider myself a salesperson though.
I will say the customer service I was watching was really good. You guys all kind of pitched in,
Hmm.
and your girlfriend was there and she was helping people, and I felt like this is the way it should be, inviting, because you did have a couple of younger people in there with their parents, and they were asking lots of questions because some, like for me, I my 9-year-old loves Pokemon, right?
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to say where I went to, but I did go to a place here locally that's by my house. Spencer, I know you know which one's
shame
by
on you.
my house.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah,
Uh, but he just wanted to use his allowance to buy some Pokemon cards.
sure.
Very much like I could read the room, and he was not very helpful at all. It
Hmm.
was like we were bothering him, but there was no one in the shop. Like it was pretty dead. And
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
like,
that's a shame.
I didn't see that in your store. And I'm not just saying this because I've known Spencer and we've been friends for a long time. I'm being completely honest. I liked how you guys took the time to each individual person. There's people coming in, you memorize names of people.
Hmm. Hmm.
To me, I think that is the best thing. Like when I was going to GameStop when you weren't working there anymore, there was another GameStop and there was someone there that I knew really well. Uh, got to know him, and that made that experience so much better.
Hmm.
Um, and I really haven't gone to GameStop much after that because you don't work there and he doesn't work there. But that was like a thing that I noticed. I know Alex had been there before me. I mean, like, what did you think, Alex? Because I know you've been there,
Couple times
twice.
now. Um,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
apparently the
know.
bathroom's amazing, but I
The
haven't.
best bathroom in the biz. That's
Yeah.
what everyone's saying.
Um.
I haven't said it, but
Yeah.
everyone else is saying it.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I've
Uh,
heard.
and Alex, I'm pretty sure, like, my partner's been there most of the time too. So
Hmm.
it's like, I don't want everybody just to think that they're saying this because I was the one there. But
No, you
my
guys all
partner's
three were there.
completely like new to retail,
Yeah.
and he's excellent, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, yeah, he's obviously a really smart guy, and he knows how to interact with people. And that's all it is, right? It's just like, you be friendly to people. Yeah,
Exactly.
like Ben said, remember names. Remembering the names is probably the hardest part,
Hmm.
actually,
Yeah.
which is a good problem for us to have. That means people are coming through the doors. So, um, yeah, like, you just have to, yeah, just be friendly to people. That's how any communities, grow. So, be nice to people, introduce people to each other, and make them feel welcome. And we've had a lot of people, coming in by themselves, sitting down, and then meeting other people to play games. And that, when I say, what I'm doing right now is a dream come true, it's like, that is what I'm referring to, that right there. I used to grow up in go to like all these different card shops, right? And most of the time, there was a really prominent game store here in Lafayette for the longest time. It was called Game Preserve. I don't mind calling them out. They're not here anymore. Go figure. The guy who worked behind the counter and owned the place, he would literally say out loud that he hated Magic players. I'm like, bro, you have 30 Magic players sitting in the room right now. Like, this is your community. Like, you need to cultivate
Mhm.
this, and like you need freaking be nice to them at the very least. That's the
Yeah.
least you can do. And my partner and I, we love like just for the hell of it, we're raffling off packs every day. Um, we're we're having these weekly events, and mixing and matching players, and having players meet each other, and teaching new players already. That's something that's already happening. So it's just like all these little things are starting to I think really grow into something already, which is pretty fantastic. We're seeing new faces literally every day, and yeah, it's just incredible. So I'm very, very thankful.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I,
awesome.
I was wondering if we could get into a little bit of, I mean, obviously, you know, Magic and Pokemon are the big ones. And when I was at your store the first time, you have some other things. You have a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh, you have a little bit of One Piece and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Obviously, your bread and butter is, and how you've marketed this thing. This is a Magic and Pokemon store. Do you see like yourselves in the future like expanding that even slightly, or like as far as like singles and stuff go, or are you still primarily just going to be like a Magic and Pokemon store? I mean,
Yeah,
obviously you're so young, but
yeah, that's a really good question. So what we've noticed so far, um, I guess let me start from this. So obviously Brendan and I, my business partner, we love Magic. Both of us have been playing. He actually started right when I did too. So we've both been playing for 20 years. He actually remembers playing me in a pre-release years and years ago.
Oh,
And he
wow.
was like, "You were playing a mill deck, and it was super unfair, and I'll never forget because that was the first time I played against somebody who was milling me out." And so I thought that was funny. Um, but so we're obviously geared towards Magic. We are very Magic focused. The thing that we've noticed right now is there's been a lot of interest in these other card games. And, even just from working at a card shop prior, for the last 5 years, there is definitely interest in other card games, right? it, the singles market is really hard to determine on new card games, and for any newer business, that's like it's kind of scary getting into a new like singles line, right?
Mhm.
Investing all of this money into something that you may not sell, frankly, or may not be as popular, and decrease in price um, sooner than later. We're both pretty up on the Magic trend, so like I can look at a Magic card from a new set and go, all right, this is probably going to hold or retain value or whatever. But not even, looking at that, we have very little space in our shop. We're a
Yeah.
little over 1,270 square feet. Um, and thankfully our shelves are full,
Mhm.
like very full. And we're trying to maximize the space as best as possible. And I think focusing on Magic in particular, that is the core of our business. And filling the shelves and making sure they're full of Magic product is probably going to suit us best. Also, we don't want to be disingenuine to our community and carry these card games that, like, honestly, like, I'm not going to carry a card game that I don't have any interest in
Mhm.
learning, or that I can't teach people how to play. So we have talked, though. We're already looking into hiring somebody, and potentially that next hire might be a Riftbound player, the new League of Legends card game, right? And then we could, look into carrying that. Another, the third part of that is distribution is a nightmare, guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we thought it was going to take months to get a distribution center on lock. Thankfully, we do have one now. Actually, just last week we got a distributor down, but it's a smaller and newer one, and they really only deal with Magic right now, which is perfect for us. And like I was telling them, they got our order in literally the day of pre-orders for the next Magic set. So starting with Reality Fracture, the next Magic, the release set that comes out, we'll have new product the day it releases. Um, Pokemon, we're still working on. I have to spend absurdly high rates just to get Pokemon on the shelves. Now, Pokemon singles sell, I think, even better than boxes and packs, or just as well. People are coming in every day and buying Pokemon singles, and that's great. So we'll keep buying them, sure. I don't think I've had a single person ask for a Yu-Gi-Oh single,
Mhm.
so there's just always a risk into opening up different product lines, and especially with being so new and not having distribution set up, it's like, where do we really want to spend our money, and how can we use that money to help grow, to potentially be able to carry these things in the future, right? And right now we've kind of just decided that, Magic and Pokemon are the two things that we should be focusing on. I'm actually like pretty close to probably taking most of the One Piece and Yu-Gi-Oh product and just selling it at a trade show or something so we can
Yeah.
reinvest further into Pokemon or Magic.
Yeah, and I do appreciate as well, because I mean, I guess we call it out a store. Sure, we'll call it a store again. With something like the Game Preserve or something like that, it feels very disingenuous of like, hey, you have these card games and stuff, and here's these
Mhm.
normie board games that just take up a lot of space that no one really
Yeah, yeah,
wants.
yeah.
And so to have a store that's actually focused on card games only, like, yeah, your scope
Mhm.
is smaller, but you're utilizing like your space and everything like as well as you should be. So
Yeah,
I think that
yeah.
helps out a lot.
It's a core part of our business. You focus on what we're good on, right? Or good at, and the rest kind of falls into place. And we're already seeing that, thankfully, where all of the feedback that we've been getting is like, before we started podcasting, then brought up our website, right? Super great tool that we have, and our entire inventory is online and everything. So all of the feedback that we've been getting is basically great, and they're all mentioning the website, like, oh, this is such a great tool to use, and no other shop has a tool like this. Like, where has this been my whole life? Basically, like that's the feedback we're getting from players, and so yeah, I think we just need to keep, stay in our lane and go down it as fast as possible. Terrible reference, but yeah, like we're just gonna do what we're good at, and I think the rest will just, fall in place.
Could you take us through like what happens from, I almost said from pen to paper. What happens when someone goes to your website and they choose to get something? Like how does that affect, like if someone makes a purchase, if someone makes an order, what happens on your side?
Oh, sure. So we sell through three different channels right now. Um, our website, which is connected to Shopify. Most small businesses use Shopify. We also sell through Manipool, the thing I mentioned earlier, and eBay. Oh, excuse me. And so all three of those channels are um, they're all tied together in a way where, let me rephrase that. So we use a software that ties those channels together,
Mhm.
right? It's called Card Catalyst. We don't mind like sharing the secret sauce or whatever. Yeah, we're telling people every day like how we do it. That's the other thing I love. It's, if you want to do this yourself, go for it. Um, so we use Card Catalyst, and the moment that we, like scan a card or take a picture of a card or whatever, and then we can upload it to our inventory. And then on Card Catalyst, we get pinged if somebody buys something through any one of those three channels. So let's say they go onto our website, right? Like Alex said, they type in a whole list or, one or two cards, whatever. Um, they they have several options, right? So they can pay for it right away, or they can just choose a pick up in store, feature. Any of those options that they choose, though, it immediately pings us at the store, and I get to pull their order. And um, really getting into like the nitty gritty of things, the way we have our things organized is also much more sophisticated than most other card shops that I've ever seen, anyway. And I've been to a lot of card shops. So everything's like chaos sorted, basically. It's very similar to an Amazon warehouse where everything's in a batch of a maximum of 80 cards, and that batch is a specific number, and it just goes from like, one to, you know 100,000 or whatever. We have, I think, over 4,000 batches currently on our inventory, 4,600 and something. um, and yeah, so it'll position me in a way where I don't have to bounce around from drawer to drawer. It's the smartest way to grab the cards and pull the order and just and keep going to the next card and the next order. So I can create an entire like batch of, let's say, 40 orders or whatever. We get roughly 40 orders every night, through Manipool, eBay, and Shopify. And then it'll take me, a couple of hours to pull and pack 400 or 500 cards. So it's super, super sophisticated. Um, yeah, and that was all honestly like my business partner already had most of this in place before we even got together. I just tell everybody, I had the cards, and he's much smarter than I am when it came to all that. It would have taken me years to figure it out, but it is such a smart way to do things. Though anybody can learn it. If you can read, you can pull cards for us. That's what we like to tell people. So yeah, the process is super fast, man. It took me 11 minutes to pull a deck for somebody the other day, and a full commander is a format where you could use 100 cards, right? They sent our list in. We have a really cool deck builder feature on the website that lets you just copy and paste a list of cards that you're looking for into our website, and it tells you everything we have. So they copied and pasted a list of 100 cards into the site. We had 91 or 92 of them, and it took me 11 minutes to find them. So any other shop, you would go in with a physical list, right? And quote unquote submit it by handing it to the person behind the counter, and they would be like, we'll get to this when we can get to this. And when I was working at the old location, like my old store, I would tell people if we weren't busy, it would take me a minute to pull one card, generally speaking. So, you're going to be here for 100 minutes. Like, and we might not even have all of them. We don't know. It's mind blowing, dude. Like all the feedback that we've been getting from people, it's like it's just the most convenient way to shop for Magic cards if you want to go into a place locally. That is, um, and just in general, really, like even the big hitters, like places like TCG and eBay, you can't just like have a full list of cards and plug it in anywhere and like, oh, here's everything we have. That's not something you can do. But our website makes that like very easy and possible. So it's really, really neat.
Yeah, I checked out your website. First off, that's really good business sense because you wanted to make it an easy thing. Going through the website, me not knowing magic cards or whatever, I felt it was very well put together. It was very easy to look things up and like go through and see, just what you guys had.
Hmm.
And as somebody if I'm looking to purchase something online, I want it to be easy. And the fact that you can put in that much in there and say, look, this is the deck I'm looking for, and it pulls it. I mean,
Hmm.
that's pretty awesome. That is, I wish everything in life was that easy. Uh,
Yeah, it's truly incredible, like for a Magic player, honestly. We're not the only shop that has a website like this, but we are the only shop around our area that has anything like this. So it's really, we're really spoiling the Magic community specifically. But same for Pokemon. Like all of our Pokemon cards are listed online now. It took us about a week and a half to inventory them all, but if you randomly decide that you're looking for that last card in your master set for Scarlet and Violet, you can just hop on our website and type in the name of the card and see if we have it. So it's very cool.
Now, I know we said like events because I almost said big events.
Hmm.
Like, how often are you guys? Do you guys have on your Facebook page or where can people kind of like see where your events are and stuff?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Ben, actually, because hopefully soon it'll be changing to um, a more official page. Right now, we do have Facebook events on Facebook, and we also have events on our website. Either one of those will change. We're going to still use both of those. We just applied for WPN, which is Wizards Play Network. So you have to basically go through Wizards of the Coast to be a WPN store, quote unquote, and that makes you an official like partner of Wizards, essentially. Once you do that, you can create an account with them, and then you can run off of their event finder. And then, then the options open up. There's a companion app that if anybody listening plays Magic, they know what the companion app is. It's basically an app that makes all players sign into it when they play in any official event, no matter where they're at in the country or the world, right? So you can, go to your local games store. They're going to have you sign in through the companion app. So hopefully we hear back from Wizards. I actually just got an email from them yesterday saying that they'll get back to us in the next 3 days. So I see no reason right now, where's some wood that I can knock on that they would say no. But there's always a chance that they come back and they're like, "Oh, you guys are too small or whatever," which I don't know. I've been into a lot of WPN stores that, quite frankly, are like way dirtier than ours and not as put together and have less things on the shelves. So I think, I'm pretty confident that they're going to say yes. And then at that point, you'll be able to hop on the companion app or the event finder website and just find all of our events there too. And that's kind of that's the end goal, not the end goal necessarily, but that's the last stop as far as
Mhm.
where events will be found, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking at your Facebook page now. Really well done. It has your not only that, but it has your links on the page.
Hmm.
So uh, anyone that's listening, definitely check it out. It's Over the Board on Facebook. They have all of their links here. So overtheboardgames.com it is there, and they also have their Discord on there. Definitely check it out from someone that
Yeah,
was an OG from Get Out of Gaming.
I think we had
Definitely. Um,
50. I think we just hit 50 members on Discord. Hold on. Oh yeah, 54 actually. Let's go. New
Nice.
faces. Love to see it. Which is always a joy, It's just like seeing any new player is great. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna join tonight. So I would recommend everybody get on their Discord, follow them on Facebook there, and just check them out. Like I said, I'm not a card player, but I brought the card player in my household that I know, and he was super excited to go and spend money. He's got that
and he did
adult
he
money
did
now.
spend some money, yeah.
He's got adult money now, so uh, he's always like, "Man, I don't know how you do this with your paycheck." And I'm like, "Sir, I pay mortgage, car payment. You pay nothing. You pay your cell
That's
phone,
that's
the
why.
insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pay 250 a month. That is what you pay, and you're
Hmm.
paid more than that weekly." Um, you know, I think when Alex and I said we're gonna go and we're gonna check this out. Um, one more question I want to ask you. So, um, with this here, what are the chances you guys will start carrying the Halo cards?
Probably 0% chance, Ben.
Dang
There's a
it.
0% chance of Halo cards in the store. I'm sorry. I don't
Oh,
know. Maybe as like I didn't even realize that was a thing, honestly.
yeah,
Maybe,
they're
if or one day we applied for a bunch of distribution centers and not all of them have gotten back to us. So who knows?
Huh.
they're
Yeah.
they're not very popular. They're selling them on GameStop, and I don't think anyone's bought them.
Yeah.
Um, I think they're done by Tops, so that's probably not something that people are looking forward to.
Oh, you
Uh,
know what? Tops. I do have access to top stuff through our yeah,
oh,
Entertainment Earth did mention yeah, my rep mentioned that I could get tops cards. So,
I
maybe I'll
mean,
ask her just for you, Ben. Yeah.
because I would be the only one that would buy those. Uh, there, as you can see, I need to add more to my Halo collection. Um, but yeah, it's been awesome having you back on the show and
That's
being
been
able to
fun,
talk
man.
about
Thanks
your.
for having me, guys. I mean, yeah,
Oh yeah,
whenever, yeah, if you have any more
uh,
questions or whatever, I'm down I'm down
I
down for whatever.
I didn't realize we were allowed to ask
Mm.
stupid questions. When are you gonna have dot hack cards for me? You know,
I can pull them out of my closet for you, Alex.
I have a
Um,
bunch of them
whenever you
over
want.
here. I have
I'll
like 8 Black Rose and Kite decks around
Yeah,
me.
dude, I bought like 4 of those at Gen Con one year and then mashed them together and made 2 probably pretty mediocre decks. I don't know,
I s-
nobody ever played with me.
I haven't played yet, but I would play. I'm the dot hack
Yeah,
guy.
maybe we just do that. Maybe we
Yeah,
just do that instead. I
yeah,
think they're all in my sunroom out back actually. So,
yeah, yeah. We'll do
um
that sometime for
that would be
sure.
fun. Yes,
Um,
indeed. I got Zach, a friend of the show. I got him to play One Piece,
yeah,
and my girlfriend and I play some One Piece from time to time. Highly recommend it, man.
yeah,
It's a very fun game. It's very cheap,
yeah.
which is nice. You can build a deck for like $20. Um, or just buy one of those like pre-constructed ones out of the
Mm-hmm.
box for 15. So if you can find it anywhere, that is, because it's impossible to find. But
I mean, that's not a stupid question I asked about Halo cards. So,
I
I
don't know.
mean
I don't know.
I mean, there
You
are no
know the
such
answer is
things as
no. I feel like that's a stupid.
well, you know, it's a
yeah.
rhetorical question, not a stupid question. There's a difference,
You know,
right?
you know,
Yeah.
you know.
So what do you
Um,
guys think overall the vibes walking into the store? I guess we can explain that a little bit, right?
Yeah,
I thought the vibes were very good. I thought,
Okay.
like I said, like, seeing people being helped by all 3 of you,
It's
um,
huge, right? Just like
that is
friendly
huge.
faces. Yeah.
If my kids stop acting up, I would love to take them out there to buy some Pokemon cards and stuff,
Yeah.
and someone that knows Pokemon can, like, ask questions. So, I have a 9-year-old that is very much, ADHD pretty much to the max,
Hmm.
and he asks a lot of questions. And so it'd be nice to pawn him off on somebody else to answer some of those questions
I am
because I get
available
tired.
4 days of
Um,
the week.
you say that now, but I thought the vibe was very, very good. Even people coming in were very like, I don't want to get very into any like stereotypes or anything, but everyone was very nice, including your customers that were coming in.
I
Um,
agree. Yeah. Right
and
now,
you guys were
everybody that's come through has been a joy to work with. And
Yeah,
yeah, I
and
think,
you guys were busy. You guys
hmm,
were we got
yeah.
there and it wasn't busy, and then it just kept going, and
Hmm.
so we didn't want to take too much of your time because I know you were busy, but
Yeah.
uh, the vibe was great. I think
yeah.
that for someone that I feel like if you are just starting, you could go to your store and feel comfortable with just kind of starting out, learning the game and
That's
stuff.
the
And you
plan.
said, yeah, and you said you will show people.
Yeah,
Um,
we're literally, yeah, doing a learn to play event this Saturday at 2 o'clock in the store where you'll there's a format called draft where you sit down with 3 booster packs and open them up, pass the cards around and pull them from the pack. And yeah, we're doing a learn to play event. So
Nice.
hopefully, we get some newer faces out. A couple of people that already know how to play but are a little nervous about playing a little more like competitive. Um, yeah, so that's, I mean, yeah, we already have stuff like that in the motion. I'm very excited just to, I mean,
I
see, I
think that's
guess,
very
yeah.
and that's very inviting for people
Yeah.
because there's always been people I feel like that have either collected the cards and really wants to sit down and play, but
Hmm.
they're nervous because they're like, I'm gonna get in there and they're not gonna be, I may not remember all the rules and
Yep.
regulations. And I feel like I didn't get that from your store. Um, Alex is laughing.
Why do you think I
I'm
don't
not
play
gonna say,
Commander? Why do you think I don't play
yeah.
Commander?
No,
See,
no,
you
and
can
I,
go
I
to,
understand completely though, man, and I appreciate you saying that, and that's exactly what my business partner and I, like, we've had this conversation a million times, right? Where, um, if people are nervous to play the game, which they often are, well, hey, buddy, it's like
how's Felix?
that's a one-time customer, right? And they're
Hmm.
never going to come back to. So not only is it not healthy for business,
Mhm.
but it's not healthy for the game either, right?
Yeah.
You want
Yeah,
those people to be like lifelong Magic players, and that what's the quickest way to get somebody off of something is be rude or not inviting. So yeah, that's huge. Like when I was 16 and I first started learning how to play Magic, um, my friend and I first started just at our apartment together or like his apartment, and then we'd go over to my place sometimes and play. And then the moment that we went into a card shop to play, we played against this guy and he was kind of rude to both of us, and it completely turned my friend off of playing the entire time. And we had been playing for months prior, having a great time together. Yeah, I stuck
Yeah.
with it, and then I eventually went to a different card shop and met the right people, and they helped me, realize that not everybody's a jerk. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so important to surround yourself with the right people when you're new to any hobby, I think. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, there's no magic without the community, right? So
Yeah. Like
yeah, that's square one.
like I joke to a degree, but I mean, like Alex, friend of the show, other Alex, like he kept bugging me to open up um my Terra Final Fantasy VI deck. He's like, "Oh man, why you have this? Like, you should just open it. You should just come play. Come on, I can pick you up. We can go play. It'll be fun. We'll play Commander." I was like, "Okay, fine. I'll finally
I
do
love
it." And
Love that, and I
then
love Alex.
and like it was like the game was fun, and like I enjoyed it because Alex was there. But like the
Mhm.
people who we were playing against, I don't know, just weird vibes. Like, and that's
Yeah,
what you
no, and
said.
that happens, yeah.
Like it's just like I don't know. It feels sometimes where you're at, depending on the type of game, and this could be like video games and stuff as
Mhm.
well, like World of
Oh,
Warcraft
100%.
versus Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 14. Like I'm
Going to a
playing,
Super Smash Brothers
yeah,
tournament, right?
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly,
man, I felt so man, I went to one of those one time. Like, just as a spectator, it
yeah.
didn't feel welcome, Like, yeah.
Like people just feel like upset that you're new,
Mhm.
and like upset that like, oh man, I have to explain this. Where like you
Then
should be
they
welcoming, because then eventually they might like this better, get good, and then you'll have a regular who will
it's
play
the
with you.
gatekeeper, mentality, I
Yeah.
think, it's bled into everything, dude, where people are I don't know if it's insecurity where people are afraid that, "Oh, maybe this person's gonna get better than me," or I don't know exactly what it is, but it's just a giant gatekeeper mentality is, like, I feel like bled
Yeah.
into almost every, every hobby, and it's so unfortunate, man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I
it's just sad.
I own every Final Fantasy Commander deck that I've opened them, and I've played with them like once with like either
Mhm.
at that store or like with a friend or whatever, trying to play through it together. And
Yeah.
then that was kind of just it, because I it was really just I'm gonna collect these because I like Final Fantasy, and I
Mhm.
from what I played I do enjoy the game. But like to go back to the vibes and stuff really quick of your store, having a store where one is very helpful, everyone's helping you, but two, there are people sitting at the tables casually, like chatting or just making the
Mhm.
store full,
Yeah.
makes it welcome.
Yeah, and bingo, dude, like, eh there's a term in retail, right? And I know Ben has heard this, where they tell you, "Don't be afraid to fire your customers," right? And that's something you can't do in a corporate setting, and even in a sense, like, I felt like this at the last place that I was employed, right? Where, the person I was working under was very much like, well, we put up with this person because they pay a lot of money. I'm like, I can't wait to fire my first customer.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one
Yeah.
person, that bad apple can just bleed into the rest of the community, right? And like really just ruin it for everybody. And then that one bad experience, like they stop coming back. It's like that it can ruin the whole community. And like
Yeah.
Yeah.
again, without the community, there is no game. So I don't know, man. Yeah. Can't wait to fire my first customer though. I'm gonna be really excited to have to kick somebody out of the store. If
I
they
mean,
deserve it, man, like get out of
It's
here, dude.
gonna
You're
happen
bad
as
for
it
well.
everyone.
is.
It's
Oh
an
yeah, it always
inevitability.
does, man. I had to kick and I did get to that point at the last place I was employed where I had to kick a couple of people out, but you couldn't do that in a retail environment
Mm-hmm.
unless if they were like belligerent or,
Mm-hmm.
waving a weapon at you or something. Like um, yeah, so it had to get really far at places like that, though, the last place that I was at. And I mean, to the point where the guy stood up and was flipping me off and like cursing at me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, well, you're not coming back. So yeah, I don't know. Like cultivating a community again is just like so important, and I think that we have that in mind, right? So
Yeah.
it's like if we're doing that right, I think everything else again just falls into place, right? So
and and
yeah.
I
Yeah.
I, I do want to do it really quick. So cultivating community and all of that. You
Mhm.
you talked about how like you have your Facebook and all this other stuff. You have a
Yeah.
Discord. What are the plans for that Discord as far as cultivating your community? Like, how are you guys utilizing it?
Man, so I have been basically dark on Discord for the last basically since we stopped podcasting and I
Mm-hmm.
stopped speedrunning. Um, so that's more along the lines of something that my partner's like really well versed in and he wants to do. We've talked about doing, we're constantly doing raffles and
Mm-hmm.
giveaways, in store so we can start moving stuff like that over to the Discord. In a certain to a certain level, once we get enough people in each channel and start firing certain events and having weekly just like community days or weekly events or whatever, the community kind of just picks that up for you and kind of just carries that along with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in any Patreon Discord server I've ever been in, the person running it is generally one of the least active people, right? And that's
Yeah.
kind of the hope, where we have something that, everybody, we provide a place of safety and provide a place where people want to hang out together, and then
Mhm.
they just run away with it, and then it becomes this thing that's kind of out of our hands
Yeah.
in a good way. Um, so, I don't really know how to answer that
Mhm.
question, actually. It's more of, we hope that people come in and dig the store, and then they hop online and create friendships, and, dig communicating with each other. So, like, that's kind of the idea there. Obviously, it's going to be used to promote events and stuff as
Yeah.
well. So, that's just, like the 101 stuff though.
Mhm.
Yeah, I kind of wish my partner was here. He might be able to better answer that question, actually. But
Okay.
I think just self growth. I guess.
Yeah, I was just wondering because like other like businesses or something like that might have like events where they might either like stream it like either through Twitch or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or just having like certain like voice channels to be like, hey, we're doing this, and I don't know, be a little more active. Like I've seen certain
Yeah,
businesses do that kind of stuff, or different companies do that, so I was just curious if like you had any plans for even like streaming or something like that in the
man, my
store.
Twitch days I think are over,
Yeah,
gentlemen. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we've discussed like streaming on Twitch
like a
and
QVC.
streaming on yeah. Streaming on whatnot, is really popular
Yeah.
in the TCG space. I have little interest to do that.
Hmm.
Again, it's kind of like carrying a product that I know nothing about, right? I don't know anything about whatnot, and I was never big on Twitch or anything.
Yeah.
I have some experience doing it, but maybe if we find the right person to partner with, or bring the right person on board, and that's something that they want to do, and they feel like they can be compensated fairly, then yeah,
Hmm.
sure, we would love to grow in whatever uh natural avenue makes sense for the company. But right now it's just like we're not even paying ourselves,
Yeah.
frankly. So it's like we literally have no one on staff. It's just me and him working all the time. And then, like Ben mentioned earlier, my girlfriend helps out, so she'll be behind the counter every once in a while. But we don't want to stretch ourselves too thin.
Yeah.
I think that's super important, and that's another reason, why we're not carrying more, like product lines and stuff. It's just like, let's just focus on what we do know, and we're already getting to that point where it's like, like I mentioned earlier, we are looking to hire somebody pretty much immediately. Um, Keeping up on trades, processing trades, scanning cards in, getting them uploaded to our inventory so people can shop live on our website and all of our other sales channels and everything. It's demanding. It's taking a lot of time. Just today, I worked for 5 hours just packing online orders and shipping them all out, and driving to the post office. And obviously, Rossville's a bit of a drive from where I live, so it's 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. There's another hour. So,
Hmm.
I worked for 6 hours today, and we didn't sell anything, quote unquote. We had those online sales, but um, having somebody be able to do that for us would allow us to open up more days of the week, run
Hmm.
more events, grow everything else. So, um, one step at a time, I
Yeah.
guess. We're
Yeah,
just trying not to bite off more than we can chew at the moment. So.
and I think that's a smart business. I think I've been on eBay officially, I think it was at 7 years, 8 years.
Yeah.
In the last 3 years, I started paying myself.
Mhm, mhm.
So, because I would get money and it would go straight back to more product
Yeah,
there. The whole goal was to help with my collection. And it did a pretty good job every now and then. But now I'm at the point now where at least every month I'm paying myself something. So yeah,
yeah.
you'll get there. Um, you know, and I think you guys have a good business plan ahead of you. And you guys have just you have that customer service where I tell this to people all the time. Good customer service will get people to come back
Mhm.
always. And I think people forgotten about good customer service. So,
Oh, yeah, it's pretty awful in some of the other local shops around here, I'll admit. So, um, yeah, there's oh, man, yeah. Yeah, we're
I
we're
won't say,
providing the best customer service out of all of the local
Yeah.
stores. Hands down, I will say that. So,
well, we'll be going to your store from now on when they get their allowance. Because at that other store, I'm not a violent man, but the way he was talking to my son, I was like,
Yeah, dude, that's so rough, dude. Like,
I was
I
texting
can't
my mom.
imagine. Yeah.
I was texting my mom. I was like, "Hey, do you guys have bail money? Because I'm gonna throw a guy through a window." Uh, don't talk to my kids that way. Anyway, well, this has been an awesome episode, and there was just a tad bit of violence. If you're, like I said, if you're new here, we do a bi-weekly podcast, talk about everything nerdy, whether it's video games, anime, movies, or a friend of the show's brand new card shop. Uh, definitely check
Founder of
us
the show.
out. Founder of the show.
Founder. Yeah.
We'll put links to everything not only on our social media, Blue Sky and everything like that, but we will have links at the end of the description of the show. Now the important question is, we end every show the same way. Do you remember how we ended the show back in the day?
Get at it.
Get at it.
Get at it.